Hello friends, my name is Jerica, and I purchased this 1970s cottage farmhouse in the middle of the forest 2 months ago. Since then, I've been hard at work setting up my soap studio, learning about gardening, and turning my house into the cozy home of my dreams. Today, I'll be showing you how I make soap using animal fats, beef tallow, and pig lard. I own a small soap business, and I'm hoping to integrate more of the forest and my garden into my products in 2025. So I've been experimenting more with natural ingredients in an effort to create products that are in tune and reflective of my surroundings. I was really impressed with my tallow soap that I made in the last video and wanted to continue experimenting with more animal fats. So I formulated a soap recipe that includes pig lard as well. So many of you were so helpful with your tips and suggestions in the last video that I couldn't wait to try some of them in this new recipe. Pig lard, while currently not as popular as beef tallow, is still a great ingredient to use in skincare. The pH of lard is naturally very close to the pH of our own skin, so it's easily absorbed and deeply hydrating while being incredibly gentle at the same time. Lard is known for promoting collagen production and contains high amounts of vitamin D, which is used in skincare for minimizing dark spots and evening skin tone. All of this makes pig lard a great ingredient to use in face care, which is what I formulated this soap for specifically. Using other additives like rose clay and essential oils that are great for the face like lavender, lemon, and tea tree oil together make this soap a great choice if you're wanting a more natural solution for a face wash. I'm just about to pour the lard tallow soap, and I've mixed everything over there, and I'm just gonna bring it over here and pour it into my mold. From my last tallow video, a lot of you told me that yes, it's normal for a beef tallow soap batter to come to trace extremely slowly. And with this lard tallow face soap, it's exactly the same. This soap is not solidifying very quickly at all, which gives me tons of time. But with the face soap, I normally don't do a lot of colors. I try to keep things as natural as possible because my face is super sensitive to scent and mica and all of those things that could clog your pores. So I try to keep it as minimal as I possibly can. And the soap is pretty minimal. So it's just in this bucket. All I'm gonna do is pour it in. That's it. I should probably turn on my camera though, so that I capture it. Soap does not have to be fancy in order to be a good bar of soap. And I think in 2025, I want to make more extremely simple soaps that have a function, that they're meant for something. I'm not even going to texture my tops. This is going to be a simple rectangular bar of face soap. So there's the first one poured. Let's go ahead and do the other one. And then that's it for the soap. I was thinking about for my February soaps, or people who signed up in January are going to get their soaps in February. And I was thinking for the February soap of the month, I wanted to do, you know, like a very decorative, romantic style of soap. But I want to do more soaps that have a very specific purpose, because I think those are ultimately the soaps that get sold better, if you know what I mean. So hold on, let me make sure everything's recording. That's recording, yep, that's recording, cool. I'm gonna stop chatting so much and just pour. So this is not the
only soap I'm going to be doing on this channel that is not so much a decorative artisan soap, but it's more of a soap that targets a specific need that you would want. So in this case, a facial bar. And what makes this a great facial bar, I've probably talked about it in the voiceover that I'm going to do as I'm prepping to make this soap, but I go much more in depth on my Patreon post that accompanies this video, and that's where you have the recipe and I talk about all of it. I break everything down step by step and by ingredient. And I don't know if you can hear it in my voice. I'm recovering from being quite ill. I had a cold during, I think after Christmas time, got better, and the cold came back, but I'm now on the mend. I'm recovering. Okay, and that's it. And that is why I love making bars like this, because you can just whip them up, pour them, no fuss, just leave them be, not even texturizing the tops, and they're done. So this is really a great beginner soap as well. Because tallow, lard, slow movers, you don't have to worry about the soap seizing unless you use a fragrance oil that causes soap to seize. So, I mean, if you're a beginner, I highly advise that you don't do that, that you look at reviews and you specifically pick fragrance oils that are known to be slow movers, and that will give you plenty of time to get that soap into the mold. So now that I have that done, I'm going to just leave them here, let them solidify, and I'm going to cut them tomorrow morning and show you what they look like once they're cut. This soap has solidified nicely, and it really lightened up the pink, almost to a white. It's a very creamy pink color. And this is one of the plainest soaps I've ever created. So the cut's not going to be too exciting. This does actually smell amazing. That lavender and lemon and tea tree, awesome combination. I don't know if I mentioned what the essential oil blend was for this face soap, but when you're choosing an essential oil blend for a face soap, you want to pick essential oils that are known to have properties that benefit your face. So that's why I stick with usually lavender, lemon, and tea tree oil. So here's a big long block of face soap or body soap, whichever you want. It'll be very mild and also just feel incredible on your skin. So let's go ahead and cut her. Ooh, this is harder to cut than I thought it would be. Wow. Wow. I don't know if that was the lard or the tallow, but the combination of the two was kind of a hard cut. Here's that block. And when it comes to showing you the inside, I think one will suffice. But I don't know if you can see here in this corner, it's just the littlest bit crumbly, which tells me that I might have waited a tad too long to cut the soap. So that's something to note for next time when I'm making a lard bar or a tallow bar, that these soaps will get hard sooner and I should cut them sooner. Yeah, just a regular block of soap. And yes, I do have a studio and I could cut my soaps in that studio, but I just love the lighting here and I love this room so much. It's really coming together. And in the future, I might do a lot of my video content in this room because I love it so much. And it's not done. I'm still in the process of creating that magical space, that apothecary room that I've always dreamed of. Okay, so let's try doing it on its side, because maybe the fact that I had it standing up was the issue of why it was so hard to cut. Okay, yeah, this is a little bit easier. Such a refreshing scent. It's definitely the type of soap that you could use as a daily soap bar for your face and body. So here is my lard soap, my lard facial soap that's drying right now. And here are the other soaps that I've got going. These are my gifts for anyone who signed up in December. This is their soap of the month soap. This is the tallow soap that I made a week ago or so. Yeah, but it's already very, very hard. And will be ready to ship in a couple of days, so that's exciting. I do mean to restock on a few limited edition scents that will be Valentine's Day coated. I still have to make those, as well as restock some of my other core scents. Like I need to make raspberry vanilla at some point this month. I need to make another ocean soap at some point. But yeah, it'll just be a continuous restocking, and it feels good to be busy. I also have orders on the board that I need to fulfill, hopefully by today. And on top of that, I want to attempt to make a tallow cream with the leftover tallow that I've got. So let me get that started, and this is going to be kind of special, and you'll see why. I've been fascinated with using beef tallow for face products ever since I saw that these animal fats have very similar pH to our own skin, which is really good when you're trying to formulate skincare for your face. The closer you are to that pH, the gentler it will be on your skin. So I've seen a lot of beef tallow face creams out on the market, and I decided to formulate my own, and it seemed to be pretty basic. Some of them are just beef tallow whipped up. That's it. But I was thinking that might be a little bit too heavy for me. I want to cut it with some lighter oils. So that's what this cream is going to be today. We're going to start with the beef tallow. And speaking of beef tallow, thank you to everyone who gave me their suggestions on whether or not I should purchase a beef tallow or a beef fat that's unrendered at a cheaper price from a local butcher, or whether I should discontinue using the already rendered tallow, which is much easier. It is typically double the price to do that, but there's a really good supplier who sells beef tallow at a really great price, and that's soap. No, it's I'll have them linked down below. My memory is terrible. But yeah, there are good sources of already rendered beef tallow, and if you don't have the time to render it yourself, that's a great option. I've heard that it could be really smelly and just overall difficult to do. I do want to try it at least once before I write off doing it, because who knows, I might not mind it as much. But I also want to show you guys, in case you're interested, about doing this for yourselves at home for your skincare products. But I will say beef tallow is just so soft. It's like margarine. It's so fluffy. I remember sampling a little bit of a beef tallow cream at one of the Christmas markets that I went to over the holidays, and it was incredibly light. That cream had mango butter in it as well. So ways that you can cut the grease if it feels really greasy for you is to add things like that. A mango butter, which is really fast absorbing, nowhere near as heavy feeling as shea butter, and an arrowroot powder if you want to as well. Next, I'm going to be adding some lard. If you've missed some of my Vlogmas videos, the lady who I purchased this home from raised pigs on this property, and she seemed to really like it. She actually left the pig feeder in the field out there, which I'll show you at some point. So the concept of raising pigs is intriguing to Kayla and I. The more we think about it though, the more we're thinking, should we just stick to chickens for now? I think that's what we're leaning towards doing, is trying to keep it as simple as possible, because if you try to attempt too many things or take on too much, that's a recipe for just giving up on everything. So we're trying to remind ourselves to take it slow, that there's no rush, that we're very much beginners in all of this. So there's no need to try to throw all of the spaghetti at the wall. You can see the color differences here between the pig lard and the beef tallow. The beef tallow is a little bit yellower, whereas the lard is very white. So if you're looking for a very white soap naturally, try to include lard in one of your oils and fats, because that will definitely give you a very light colored bar. When you use a lot of oils like olive oil, any oil really, they're very yellow. Coconut oil and lard, very, very pale butters and oils. It'll give you just a nice pale bar of soap, if that's what you're aiming for. So I'm just putting these animal fats into a glass container that I'm going to be putting in a double boiler to melt down in just a moment. But like I mentioned, it's not just going to be the animal fats. I'm going to be adding some liquid oils right now. For my liquid oils, I'm going to be using some hemp seed oil. I love hemp seed oil. It's my favorite carrier oil. Very rich in nutrients and fatty acids. The next carrier oil I have here is jojoba oil. It's a little bit pricier than other carrier oils. But when it comes to any face products, I do like to level up the quality of the carrier oil. Jojoba is just really good for your skin, for your face skin. It's non-comedogenic, won't clog your pores. It's very light and fast absorbing. It had its moment in the spotlight a few years ago, but it's funny how ingredients, the trendiness of them comes and goes. And now the last thing that I'm going to add is some raw honey. And this might seem scary to be doing this, but honey is actually an amazing humectant. It draws moisture to the skin. So during these cold winter days, it's always a good idea to use a face moisturizer that's deeply hydrating. That is, unless you have a naturally oily skin type, you might not need this level of hydration, but I just love honey in my face products. And we're not going to use a lot, literally just a few grams. I think in 2025, I'm going to be braver when it comes to ingredients and just keep experimenting and trying different things. All right, so that is the complete base of the tallow face cream. I'm going to start to melt these things down over a double boiler. So I just have a pot of water here. And then this container goes into here. And make sure when you are doing something like this that you're choosing a container that is heat safe and can tolerate being exposed to really high heats without exploding on you. So I will come back to this once everything has fully melted down and it's all liquid. Kayla and I put in our first order of seeds last night, which is really exciting. I've never ordered seeds in January before. This is new. I don't know how successful we're going to be with growing things from seed, but it's comforting to know that if we completely fail, then we can just buy starts at a local nursery. But I do want to try the seed thing. I mentioned in another video, or I might have cut it out, but the previous owner left behind some compost bins. So I might tackle those today or tomorrow, depending on how I feel. It's a really sunny day today, so I'm really wanting to be outside. But there's a lot of fallen twigs and garden waste already from the peonies that I cut the last video that I want to get started in the compost bin so that by the time next fall, I'll have some good compost. Because if you start a compost bin now, it's not going to be ready for quite some time. The whole gardening thing is so intimidating, but I'm looking forward to the challenge. I purchased some seeds of plants that I can use in my soap making, which is exciting. And when those seeds come in, I'll do a seed haul. I don't know how interested you guys will be in seeing what seeds I purchased, but I'm really excited about that, you guys. Because of how warm it's been, things are starting to blossom out there, and I really want to show you guys some of the flowers that I'm getting this time of year. I never thought I'd be saying that in January. I've also been trying to get to know the plants around here too. I'm really impatient, but I know a lot of the mystery will be solved when spring gets here. I really have to get going on making my other products. The tallow face cream that I'm making right now, these are gifts for my Golden Bubble patrons. If I have any left over, I'll post them on the website. But I do want to do a cream as well for my regular customers because that's all sold out on my website. As I get more and more settled in this home, I do see myself becoming more open to wholesale customers again, trying to get my product in some local stores around here. I do know that in my particular specific area, there's not too many soap makers. So I don't think I'll be stepping on any toes. At least I don't see any soaps that were specifically made in the neighborhood that I'm in. And that's kind of surprising because this neighborhood is it's very farm community. A lot of properties here have little hobby farms going on, whether that's livestock or their own vegetables or flowers. We have a lavender farm actually very close to us. And she does make soap, but she's known more for her other lavender products. I have to visit that farm soon. I don't know if she's open, but I want to definitely visit it when the lavender is in bloom and the farm looks at its most beautiful. I'm just looking forward to so many things. We had a long bout of rainy weather that we're starting to get out of a little bit. I don't know how long this sunny period's gonna last, but I can guarantee you it's probably not going to last very long. So I'm gonna enjoy it while I can. And hopefully with the longer days, it won't be as sad feeling around here as it has been. So my tallow cream base has all melted. I'm going to move on to the next step here. So the next thing we're going to be doing is to be adding these gorgeous botanicals, these dried florals, to our melted animal fats and oils to create a hot oil infusion. And we're gonna just let this simmer for a long time, like several hours. So here I have some gorgeous chamomile. Oh, it smells so good. And I'm gonna put these right in the oil infusion. And I'm also going to be adding some beautiful calendula just to get those amazing properties seeped into the oils to make this just a truly beautiful face cream that's perfect for wintertime. But we're not going to infuse these oils at the current temperature. We're going to lower this to a simmer. So let's bring this down to the minimum, which is that amount. And keep an eye on the water. Just keep re-adding water as it cooks down, and just continue heating it up over a long period of time. Good morning, guys. I am still continuing to infuse my tallow cream over there. I did notice overnight when it solidified that it was not as hard as I wanted it to. It was still kind of liquid, so I decided to tweak the recipe a little bit, add some shea butter, and I'm gonna see if that solidifies to a consistency that I'm able to whip up. And that's kind of how my formulation goes, is trying something, and if it doesn't quite match what I'm looking for, I tweak. So let me show you what that looks like right now. So here we are melting the shea butter amongst the other botanicals. Oh, we're getting a little smoky over there. No, it's not smoky, foggy. Looks like it's going to be another sunny day. So I didn't get to the garden yesterday, but I want to today desperately. I want to show you the blooms that are coming up, and I also want to set up my compost bins. So while that's infusing and doing its thing, I'm just going to be doing stuff about my day. So let's get started. We have been having a ton of rain out here, and because of all the storms, we have so much debris, just branches fallen everywhere. So that's my task today, is to collect these branches all over my lawn and hopefully set up my compost bin. So let's get started. There are a ton of little branches like this, pretty easy to put away. And then there are some really massive branches like over here that are pretty big. Are you able to lift these? Yeah, I can lift them up. They're still pretty heavy, all over my yard. Some of those really big branches will have to be cut up and broken up before I put them in my compost bin. Otherwise they'll never break down. But since I'm out here, I wanted to show you a really cool flower that I really like in my garden. These are called hellebores, and they're starting to flower because it's been so warm. I've been waiting for these leaves to dry up and die so that I can cut them back, but because they're still green, I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to let these flowers bloom in January, and they'll likely die back and come back again. The previous owner planted these all over her garden, and I'm so happy that she did, because they are just a very welcome splash of color in the wintertime. We have more hellebores over here starting to bloom, and more over here as well. Here is one hellebore just beginning to open, and some more back there. Let's see if they have blossoms. And these guys do. Some of them are pink and some of them are a really pretty white color. Some are a little darker, like these guys. And these guys over here that are almost a burgundy shade. But it'll be really pretty when they all open up. We have this bush that looks like it's preparing to blossom up. And this is an Andromeda bush, I believe. So it's hardened up quite a bit more. So we're going to continue whipping this up so that it gets to a smooth, fluffy consistency. To get this tallow cream into jars, I really like using just a piping bag because it's easy, it's fast, and it's less messy. I just scoop the stuff into my piping bag. Look how beautiful that is. Wow. And like I mentioned, it's not heat proof. In fact, this might melt a lot easier than other anhydrous body butters. But if you're looking for hydration and your skin is really, really, really dry, then this is exactly what your skin needs. It might feel a little heavy on your hands after application, but that should go away after a few minutes. And the payoff is deeply hydrated, glowing skin afterwards. So how would you store this knowing that it's prone to melting? Well, I would keep it in a cool, dry, and dark place away from direct sunlight because the sun will melt it. And if you want to use it as a face cream, like a cold cream, then in the fridge is also a great place to store this cream. But be careful if you're planning on selling this. It might be prone to deflating and melting in the jar. But the thing is, even if it does lose its fluffiness, you can still absolutely use it as a balm, and it will smooth over your skin just as nicely and provide those amazing moisturizing properties and benefits that a whipped tallow cream would do. And you can also have instructions on your website letting the customer know how they could just whip it up themselves again at home if they wanted to, using a hand mixer. I see really big companies doing this all the time, and I just think that us as small business owners, we tend to be perfectionists and we worry a lot about our products being absolutely perfect. But you might find when it comes to supporting a small business, customers that do that tend to be a lot more understanding and willing to work with a product's imperfections with the sacrifice of it being a little bit more natural and handmade. And here are the piped tallow creams, and you can see by the end of it, the heat of my hands was actually melting the tallow cream and turning it into liquid. So that's what that is at the very top. But don't worry, this will solidify right back up. But you can see with that just how heat sensitive these creams are. This jar, which is all my extra, is almost completely liquid. But if your tallow creams are melting on you, just put them back in the fridge and they will apply really nicely still, just like a cream would. Just be aware that if you're shipping these, they will likely melt a little bit in transit. So there you have it, a lot of experimenting with both lard and tallow. And from my experiments, I can definitely say that I really like these animal fats for use in cosmetic care. I think the fact that they are so close to our own skin is really special. And judging from the popularity that these types of products have started gaining in the last couple of years, it's safe to say that this type of ingredient is here to stay and can only get more popular as the years goes on. So if you want to make a natural cream like this, which doesn't have any preservative in it because there's no water in the cream, you can find that on my Patreon, which is linked down below, as well as the lard tallow soap for your face. That's also on my Patreon, as well as the tallow soap that I talked about in my last video. That is also on there. So yeah, just more experimentation to come. Next week is going to be, I think, a scrub. I'm going to attempt a tallow or lard scrub and see how that goes. And hopefully it'll turn out just as awesome as these products have. And until that next video, keep smiling and keep being awesome and keep making beautiful things like a lard tallow cold cream for your face and soap. Bye guys. I don't know if you can see this. Let me see. Hold on. I don't know if it's showing up on camera, but these are two tones of pink. I used 2 tablespoons for each bar, so it should be at least a similar color. I mean, it is a similar color, but one is definitely more pink than the other. I feel finally good enough to get out of bed and make some soap. Not even sure what my hair looks like right now, but praying that it looks at least somewhat decent. Yeah, my voice is definitely 5 octaves lower than it usually is. Okay, and that's it. And that's why I love bars like this kind of soap. Let me put this down somewhere.